Yeah, man, dude, I'm curious to start. Like, we're talking about stories, right? Like, what is your
Hmm.
story? Because I've seen you for the last couple years. I think before you really started getting big. Um,
Hmm.
and I've just seen you pop up, and I've never actually known what you do. So I'm curious, like, what's
Yeah,
your story? What do you do? How did it all come about? Because I've never seen it
yeah,
anywhere online.
yeah. I mean, for me, I just did the traditional thing. I was born in Rwanda, so I came to
Hmm.
Montreal when I was 13. And just went to school, the normal thing, and then when I was, when I finished high school, just started getting jobs left and right. Was also also went to college, and while I was there, I just started looking into things like MLMs and network marketing. I started also doing a little bit of forex, just trying to learn. And but those things never really pan out. Like it just never lead me to anything sustainable. So I ended up leaving school for a door-to-door sales opportunity. We're selling like HVAC stuff, and that just got me surrounded by people who are killing it. 23-year-olds making crazy, ridiculous amounts of money when I was around like 20. Um,
What do you
but
view?
also sales.
Real quick,
Yeah,
what
go
what
ahead.
what do you view as crazy, ridiculous amounts of money? What did you view it as then, and what do you view crazy, ridiculous amounts of money as now? I'm curious.
Yeah. I mean, back then, to be honest, I didn't even know how much money they were making, but they were probably pulling in maybe like 30, 50K a month,
Hmm.
driving a Porsche.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
for me, that seemed like a lot of money because I was coming from nothing. I was just still in school. I didn't really know. Even back then, I don't think there were many people doing YouTube ads trying to teach people how to make money online. So I had never really heard the claims, right? So for me, making a lot of money is literally showing me 3 grand and showing me a Porsche, and I'll be like, "Fuck, how did you get this at 23 years old?" Right?
Right.
Now your question about what's a lot of money today, I guess it's different because my relationship with money today has changed, right? Like I don't put money on a pedestal, right? Like let's say as an example, if I see someone making millions a month, I'll be like, "Oh wow, that's good," but I'll see it more of like input type output type of thing. I will not see it and be like, oh shit, this is something that's so high up there that I I put it on a pedestal where it's like, oh wow, that's a lot of money. I just see it as like, oh, he just put in more work type of thing.
Hmm.
Therefore, it's like okay, yeah, it's cool, but it's there if I wanted it, if I want it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's like you view it as a reflection of the person, not as like an
like
achievement. You just view it as a reflection
you
of the
know,
human
yeah.
being.
I just see it as more as okay, shit, this guy has just aimed higher, right? Or this
Hmm.
girl. And I just see it as a consequence of actions. Not so therefore, it's like, do I really want $5 million a month? Am I willing to put in that work?
Right.
Maybe not. So why would I be excited by 5 mil?
Hmm. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
All right.
I like that. So you were looking at these people do sales and they were killing it, and you're like, all right, like
Hmm.
I got to do something. It sounded like that was your
Yeah.
motivation. What do you do
Hmm.
next?
After that, I ended up not really because it wasn't sustainable doing door to door. Just it's crazy on your
Yeah.
mental and everything. So I just ended up just getting a 9 to 5. I just started going to get jobs. I ended up when I did get the sales thing, I did quit school for. I didn't quit school. I just left school for a little bit for the opportunity, but I never went back. So I just started working on a fives, and I was making let's say like 2 grand a month, and you know a bunch of it I was just reinvesting in courses, started learning about, drop shipping, Amazon, Airbnb, agency stuff, and then consulting. And then I just started struggling on how to actually acquire clients for my agency. Because then I did drop shipping, got maybe like 2 sales. And then I just went into the agency because I was like, oh, you don't need a lot of money. Let me just try it out. And I just ended up just struggling a lot to get clients because a lot of the people are teaching people how to start businesses online. Yeah, they are telling you something that has worked. But, one of the things that Naval says is that anybody who's teaching you how to get rich, how they got rich is like someone selling you their lottery ticket,
Mm,
right? So most people never succeed because you can't just replicate someone else's success to a T, right? So and a lot of people aren't really good with acquiring clients organically. Most people just have personal brands. So even if they can teach you how to start an agency, their success or their level of success that they have today is not necessarily an image of what they're teaching you in that agency or consulting or
Right.
coaching program course, right? So it's not
Right.
really the same thing. So people are learning from people doing something else, but then they're teaching you something that they're not doing, and then you have to figure out, like, there's a crazy gap between people's levels and what they're teaching. So this gap, I was like, fuck, how do I figure out? So then I went into other courses, just started learning to listening to a lot of podcasts about outbound prospecting, cold email, less cold email, more so just the psychology of outreach, and also got into the world of VAs. And from there, just hired a VA agency and got my first client. When I got my first client, I was selling him VSL funnels and advertising,
Hmm.
but I realized that he had no money, right? So then I was like, fuck, I've already sold you. I'm not going to give you your money back. Well, let me try to use the same acquisition strategy I used to get you on a sales call to do it for you. He was a coach looking for executive CEOs. So we did outbound on LinkedIn. And as I was doing it, I was like, what if I just started doing this as a service instead of selling advertising? My logic was that it's not crazy. It's not cost intensive. Like, you don't need crazy budget for it, but it is definitely a really painful problem to not be able to get someone interested in your service every month,
Sure.
every year, right? So I was like, cool. If I needed the service, probably other agencies also needed it. So,
Hmm.
in November 2020, December, I launched an appointment setting offer agency. And in January 2021, that's when I made my first 5-figure month.
Wow. So January of 2021, you made your first 5-figure month, or January of 2022?
2021. So
2021.
2 years
Like two
ago.
years ago. So I'm curious, why did you go after the coaches with outbound prospecting rather than build Facebook ad agency or the typical lead gen agency? Why go after coaches and do the outbound prospecting?
Oh yeah, that was just because when you're starting out, you have this shiny object thing where it's
Hmm.
like you're trying to jump from thing to thing. And I had jumped from so many things that I was like, you know what? Let me just find the most perfect, like the thing that I have the most insights about, and let me just try to create a service around it, right? So I had to
Hmm.
go through Sam Owen's consulting accelerator, and I saw how he was scaling. He's just using an ad and a VSL and book a call funnels, right? I was like, well, the whole fulfillment is there. He shows you how to build VSLs. I don't know if he showed me. If I don't know if it was in consulting accelerator was that good of VSLs, but I think there was that training. There was really great Facebook ad training, and there was just how to structure a funnel. So I kind of like had all the ingredients. So I went towards the thing that I had the most
Interesting.
knowledge about,
Hmm.
and that's what made my decision around fulfillment. And he was already
Interesting.
selling to coaches and consultants, so I was like, "Fuck it, let me just
Let me do
replicate
the
what
same
he's
thing.
doing through a course. I'll
Yeah.
do it through a service."
Interesting. So you same delivery, but just a different model. Um,
Exactly.
which is very interesting. So I guess a follow-up question on that. Do you think if you went with like a typical Facebook ad agency for gyms or realtors or whoever, do you think you would still have had the same success that you've had thus far? Or do you think that would have been that you'd be in an entirely different place in your business if like that was the model you committed to? Because a lot of
So I
people
have this thing
get
where,
wrapped up in
yeah,
like,
yeah,
should I
yeah,
do
I know.
e-commerce? Should I do this? And I've always been a big believer. There's a million ways to make $1 million. It's about the person, not about the mechanism. But also the mechanism has so much leverage depending on how you structure your business. So I'm curious
Yeah,
how you view that.
I think there's two things to look at. It's like, what model are you going to use to fulfill? And there is also like, who are you going to go after, right? I think that there's two. I focused on the second one most at first, because the model, I know a lot of people like overcomplicate, like, oh, done for you or done with you, or like they're so focused on that. But it's like most people are struggling now because they have the wrong model. They just have the wrong way to reach out. First they picked the wrong market,
Right.
right? So for me, this was my thing. I don't want to sell to anyone that I can't easily reach. Now, if you try to go to local businesses, like I don't know, I mean, I think you guys do a lot of local stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're not comfortable doing calls, sales calls, just be ready for failure, right? And I tried doing it. I tried calling dealerships. I tried.
Mm.
I think I was before I went online, I did get my license for to sell insurance, right?
Mm.
And bro, that was insanely hard to even reach out to one contact, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
was like, you know what? I want ease of outreach. I want it to be easy. I want it to be for me to be able to pick up my phone and be like, man, let me spam 100 people in the next 30 minutes. Can I do it? Yes, I can. I want to remove friction from me having to do the thing that matters the most, getting people's attention.
Right.
If Now the thing is, could you go into real estate? I have a friend who just started his agency. Just he did like 10K in his first month in the first day, right? But do I necessarily want to go after real estate agents? No, I want to go after people who are spending as much time as I am online, and where I can easily find them. Are they in groups?
Mm.
So then then the conversation is a lot easier, and I can find a lot more people,
I like that.
and not have it hurt my So that was my logic.
It makes a lot of sense. You optimized for ease of acquisition, which is the thing that holds most people back anyway, right? Like it's not product, it's not service, it's I can't get any
No.
customers. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
almost always the thing that holds people back. So it sounds like you really just figured out what's going to be the easiest way for me to acquire people. I'll figure everything else out
Mm-hmm.
after that, which is
Yeah.
funny because it's the similar reason before I was doing Estate AI, which is like you said, an agency for realtors. I was running a white
Mm-hmm.
label company for other agencies. And it
Mm-hmm.
was hard for me to find other agencies because like I wasn't in all the groups and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
realtors, we were white labeling for this one real estate agency, and he was getting so many realtors because there's 3.5 million of them in the US. So I was
Yeah.
like, man, like we'll figure out the product, we'll figure out all the back end shit, but there's 3.5 million realtors. They're so easy to get in. That's why we chose real estate, ease of acquisition. So it's
Mm-hmm.
funny you did a similar
Yeah.
thing. And then the next thing I'd love to ask you, dude, like you went from, I remember seeing like 50K a month posts on your Facebook story. That was a couple years
Mm-hmm.
ago, maybe like a year and a half ago. And then next time I see you pop up, it's like 500K a month. I'm like, yo, what the fuck happened? How, like, where you just 10x'd overnight, it
Yeah.
seemed like. So, like, what
Yeah.
was that acceleration like? What did you change? Like, what was the thing that took you from 50K to 500K? Because that's crazy. First off, huge
Yeah.
shout out to you, by the way. Like that's an insane number.
Respect. Mm-hmm.
And to 10x that fast is like really, really rare. So what do
Yeah.
you think was the main catalyst for that? And what has that journey been like going so far so fast?
Um, I think it's a few things, man. I don't think it's one idea because I know people who've mastered some of the components, but not the whole equation, who's still not going to do the same numbers, right?
Hmm.
First one is audience, right? I think you need to transition from this direct response mindset of like, hey, I'll put a sales asset or I'll put an ad or I'll put a DM in front of someone and have them buy. Yeah, that's good. People make millions. Yeah, they become great. But if you are the leader and you're actually trying to build something successful, like you're actually trying to build something, not just be successful for a year, but actually sustainably get wealthy, get rich for sure. I think you need to own the attention of the people who can buy your service,
Hmm.
right? That was the first thing. So I just started putting out bangers on YouTube, just consistently. I probably put out over 350 videos in the last. I mean, I've been in business for 2 years, so well, two and a half, 3 years, right? Since if you count the 9 months, a year of struggling.
Hmm.
So I've probably put out a video every 2 days for the last 2 years, right?
Jeez.
So what that did is that I started getting people who are throwing me money, right? They just watch a video. Hey, Serge, just checked out this banger. Here's 10 grand. I was like, oh shit. Wow. Okay, cool. Well, then let me optimize for that. Well, while everybody's just trying to spend a bunch of money on ads, let me just create the sales assets, the thing that gets me the impressions that's just always there and it's free, just there, just sells every day, right? That was the first thing. So, and you can even look at the same thing because if a lot of people will see Hormozy who's doing the transition to becoming an influencer, and they'll be like, but they won't ask themselves the following question: why would someone who claims to have figured out how to spend $1 make $36 back? Stop spending $1 to make $36 back, because he realized that by owning the attention, that formula, that equation becomes, I spend nothing, I make everything. So
Mm,
now he's getting infinite returns on nothing, on something that he did once, right?
right.
So like you should be chasing infinite returns, not just trying to be a good ROI guy. Like who cares if you got, what if you never spent anything to make money, right? So that was just my thing. So I did that. The next thing was I needed a model that can help me sustain scale. Um, but I still didn't want to be just another person who's selling courses or coaching programs with like information and group calls. So what I did was, could I build something where yes, there is the knowledge, but there is also like something that people generally want, something that can save people time, something that can save them from spending, their time doing the work, or just spending their energy, right? So can I save people time and energy, right? And get the thing that they want fast, or at least that first output. So I was like, okay, well, what if I built like a model where, yes, it's more of a consultancy, but it's also an agency at the same time. So you come in, we consult you, but we'll also build the team and the systems you need to start doing acquisition,
Mm,
right? So I standard, but then again, I built it more of like a conveyor belt type of operation, meaning there's someone who takes care of consulting, there's someone who takes care of training your setters. Well, so what we've done is, so there's the setter, there's the cold email, and then there is the just like other things, support, consulting, content, someone to make your personalized videos, all that good stuff, right? And then what I did is I built each vertical on its own, meaning I have teams for each thing, and we also have the asset that make up the thing. So as an example for setters, what we have is we have like a community of like 14,000 setters, right? So we kind of like have acquisition going in for our assets that we need for fulfillment, right? So it's like multiple businesses in one
right.
for within to be able to fulfill for what we've done.
Mm,
So like our operations are pretty dialed in. So that's also something that a lot of people who are seeing my stuff on the outside will not really understand what we do, because it's not one thing, right? So we're like a VA placement agency, setter placement company, but we're also called email build company, but we're also a consulting company. But then we're like, okay, but can we make it unreasonable for people not to succeed? And the only way I've figured how to do that is you give someone what to sell, or you improve what they're selling. You build their team, you build their outbound campaigns, what they need to get clients, and you also build something that's automated that just runs in the background. And you also teach them around how to build brand and content, because you can't just rely on outbound to acquire clients. Especially the more people get in, like how do you separate yourself from being an just real estate agency, right?
right.
Content is always kind of like an edge you use to be different from others, right? And yeah, man, you mix content, you mix it with a good operations and a good, and a good value. I mean, you just get good months.
And then you hit 500,000 a month, man.
Yeah,
It's
crazy, crazy, crazy.
it's incredible, dude. I have to be honest, the thought that's come into my mind as I'm listening to you speak is like, dude, have you always been wired like this? Have you always thought in this way? Or like young Serge, what was he like? Like, did you grow up just like blood thick entrepreneur, like it was just you,
Yeah.
or was this identity created? Like, take me back, I guess, a little bit to like younger days. And how did you end up
Mm.
becoming this person who's running over 500K a month business?
I don't I don't think I was always like this. No, at all, at all. Now, if I look back at school, I would say that I'm the type of guy who, if I listen, like I'll get something, right? Like
Mm,
I'm not the type of person who will like spend a lot of time. Like I'm not like the type of person who sits down and I'm like, oh, I'm trying to understand this thing because I can't get it, right? If I don't get it, I just don't get it, right? I'm the type of like I'll let go of the things that I don't get, but I also have I have an ease of understanding concepts if it's clear. Like if you explain it to me and if it's logical and if I can understand things. But I think that when I started changing, I never knew that I would start a business. That was never my goal at all. When I started surrounding myself with people who are in network marketing things, I started reading a lot of books, right? So just started learning about just about psychology and how to just reframe, just to how to frame your mind the proper way,
Yeah.
how to brainwash yourself into thinking you deserve more. And ever since I started reading those books, I just went on to a tear of just like changing, what I think I deserve and what I think I'm capable of. Um, I have this tattoo in my back saying that I owe it to myself to be great. So now, once I've set that purpose, then my goal was like, okay, now who do I need to learn from to be great? So I started learning about a lot of things, not necessarily. So for me, when I'm learning about things, I don't necessarily learn it from the perspective of like, hey, Serge, like, oh, let's just make an extra 100K this month. I'm the type of person who will try to learn bigger things. Like I'll just try to learn, well, not bigger things, but like what is the core? If because success is really like there are a few principles that you can understand and you can be successful forever, at least financially, right? So I was trying to figure out like what are those first principles where if I understand them, I can build anything and make it successful,
Mm,
right? Most people will skip the first principles and they'll be like, oh, what's the outreach message? What's the offer that's trendy today? Well,
right.
how do I sell? How do I this? No, it's like, no, no, no. Just understand that people will always try to reciprocate. Understand that if you always give first, people will want to give back. If
Mm,
you understand that, you can never struggle with booking appointments. The only people who struggle with booking appointments is people who never give shit, right?
mm,
So if you understand that reciprocity bias, okay, cool, you may be good in sales. If you understand the fact that hey, the decision you're making today, you know, if you understand second and third order consequences, then you understand that you should not be optimizing for the first outcome of an action. You should be figuring out like, okay, if I don't pay this employee and I decide to keep all the money to myself, yes, I'm going to be richer today, but how rich am I going to be 3 months from now, a year
right.
from now? So it's like people are thinking on such a first level basis that they're making the wrong decisions, right?
Mm,
So a big thing for me has always been like, how can I know the truth so that I make decisions based on what's right, not for me, but like what's right for the mission, right? So
mm.
not making emotions from, not making decisions from what I want, right? Because a lot of people are really leading companies based on what they want, which is not really how you run a company.
Right. You're using a much longer time frame to make decisions. And I was just talking with somebody about this yesterday. I think Layla Hermosi was the first one I learned this from, but she's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're making a decision and you're thinking about how it affects you today, to this week, this month. But if you want to find out if it's a good decision or a good habit or not, imagine what happens to you if you keep making that decision for the next 5 years. And it's like, man, when you think about like all the negative habits of like eating shit, watching porn, but like not working
Mm-hmm.
out, when you think about all of that across a 5 year time horizon, it's like, damn, like I'm fucked if I don't change this. And on the
Yeah,
flip, it's like, well, man, I'm scared of taking sales calls. But what if I take sales calls for the next 5 years straight? Who do I become after 5 years? So it's like expanding your time horizon really gives you clarity on if it's a good decision or not, which it sounds like is how you're making
100%.
decisions in your business. Um,
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I love it. And it sounds like there was really this belief shift you had where you were like, all right, I literally got it tatted on my back. I owe it to myself to be great. And you had this belief shift. It sounds like it came from reading. Is that right? You were reading books and you were like, damn, like, or was it the people you were hanging out with, or was it both? What was the main catalyst where you were just like, shit, I can actually do this?
I think it's just, of course, environment is big on
Yeah.
that. I think environment is everything. So I just started saying that it was possible, right? If you go to school and all your friends are broke and your teacher is broke, like what would make you want to do, what would make you take different actions? You won't,
Yeah.
right? You'll just keep doing the same shit as everybody else is doing because that's all you know, right?
Yep.
So by me surrounding myself with other people who are young and killing it, I was like, oh man, maybe there is a better path out there. And I started, seeking things that validate my thought, right? Just confirmation bias taps in when you actually want to win. You start finding ways to win, right? Um, so it was first environment, so surrounding myself with people who were doing it, and then I started seeking the answer.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. We were on our team meeting today. We were kind of talking about environment and people you surround yourself with. And
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned that because I think the most game changing moment for me was the first time I went to an event The first time I went to Joe
Mm,
Kaplan's event in Mexico, I remember thinking 100K a
nice.
month. Like, dude, I used to think 100K a month was nuts. I was like, bro, 100K a month is crazy. People can make
Yeah.
6 figures in a month. That's insane. I couldn't fathom it. I couldn't understand it because I'd grown
Hmm.
up playing like basketball with my friends in high school. How could I understand 100K a month, right? But when I
Yeah.
went to that event and I just was in that room, I just was in that room with all those people, and all they were talking about is how they scaled to 50K a month, 250K a month, a million a month. It just became normal to me. And I was like, oh, wow, this is real. Like, this is
Yeah.
actually a thing. And everything changed after that. And I was like, all right, 100K a month is coming this year. 12 months later, we hit our first 100K a month. And like, I didn't change that much as a person. The only thing I changed was I believed it was possible. And
Yep.
it's pretty interesting, man, how powerful belief is in
Yeah.
business. And I feel like so many people are capable of so many things, but the only thing holding them back, it's not competency, it's just clarity and belief of what they're actually
Yeah.
trying to do. But it's weird how some people get beliefs that support them and others never get beliefs that support
Yeah.
them. Damn, how does that happen?
No, 100%. Yeah. I mean, some people are even looking for beliefs that don't support them, right? Like
Right,
some people
right.
just they just want to believe that, oh no, it's not as easy as they make it
Yeah.
seem. But it's like, no, it is. It is actually easy, pretty easy if you
That's
try it.
interesting too. Some people are so scared of the potential that they don't
Yeah.
even want to believe that it's possible because
So
they
much.
know it's like the quote, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, it's that we're powerful beyond measure. It's like people know that they
Mm.
actually could do it, but they're so scared of what they're going to have
They
to
don't
go through to become
to get
that
it.
powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I haven't thought about that. Hmm.
Yeah, no, we get a lot of clients who are we get a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people where I get to see a lot of people who are on the same path that I was on, and I just can't get this. Like I love to show them to make them feel it, but it's like because I feel like winning is all about as much as it is less about emotions. I still think it is also about feeling. Like you gotta feel it to really chase it. Like if you've never experienced something, it's hard for you to chase it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are always kind of like just trying to like push their way like logically up to working, but no, you gotta have something, you gotta be attached to something emotionally to chase
Hmm.
it, or else the price to pay is just too high. If you're not addicted to it or at least looking forward to it, yeah, winning is not worth it, to be honest.
That's a really interesting insight. Winning is not worth it if you're not addicted to it. It's like that. That's true
Yeah.
though. That's why I think trauma is actually such a good thing for a young person to go through.
Oh my God,
Like,
100%.
dude, trauma shapes you. Because dude, once you get to 100K a month, you don't keep going. Once you solve your financial problems, you're not going to keep going unless you have some deeper rooted like
Hmm.
addiction, trauma, emotion, like you're talking about. Was
Yeah.
there a source of trauma for you? Was there something you went through where you're like, you feel like it's leverage for you now, or are you just going to go?
Maybe when I was starting out, but not
Yeah.
necessarily today. I think today I'm just playing just because just I just realized that I like at least for this phase for the next 5 to 10 years, I like who I am. I like the life that I lead, right? Not just necessarily
Hmm.
about just the success, but just generally because I love creating now. But when I was younger, for sure, when I was starting out, when my grandmother passed, I was like I didn't get to go to her funeral because I was in
Hmm.
Canada, and just couldn't blame my my family to not like bring us there because I have like three brothers. It's like spending flights to bring four kids and to bring the whole family to pay for a funeral. It does definitely get crazy expensive, right? But I was like, why is money the thing that stands between me and, going to lay my grandmother to rest? Like that was
Hmm.
something that definitely did get on the financial side because I don't necessarily come from a family that like it's not like I've never needed anything. Like I've never lacked anything, but I also didn't. I wasn't necessarily like like that situation is like why is money the bridge between how
Right.
we get to live life and how much we get to love people, like then yeah, I just set out that money would never be a worry for me.
Hmm. That's why maybe a lot of middle class people stay middle class because they never have a problem moment with money, right? They never Like they always have everything they really want or need, and it's like it never
Yeah.
becomes a big enough need to like, wait, we can't afford
Hmm.
this because what are you going to complain about? The fact you can't get a BMW as your first car? Like
Yeah.
what's the middle class kid really going to complain about? He didn't get the newest
Hmm.
iPad, but it's like, yo,
Yeah.
mom, we can't put food on the table this week. Like this money thing's important. So
Yep.
it's
Now
interesting
you
you
get
say
to
that,
work.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
think having enough, man, is I know a lot of people think that, oh, being broke is a problem, but I think that having enough is a bigger problem than not having anything.
Explain.
Because people who don't have anything, they know that they have nothing, right? So there's two types of people. There's those, or in that first category of people who don't have anything. There's those who will like not have anything and be like, shit, I'm broke, and just settle for not having anything. They'll literally create the character in their mind that it is what it is, right? They'll just accept it, right? And there's others who will not have anything and get pissed, pissed, and actually go look for a different reality, right? They'll look for better answers. Now, to people who have just enough, it's like you're being fed every 3 hours, right? Would you ever go hungry for more?
Hmm.
No. Why would you? You haven't. It's like that paycheck, right? You're getting paid just enough, just like you're just getting paid just enough so that you don't dream at night. So it's like a drug, right? It's like, like a paycheck. I think I don't know who said it, but it said that is the best drug after heroin, right? Like
Hmm.
heroin and a paycheck are two of the most addictive drugs, right?
Hmm.
So for me, it's like, and one of the reasons why I think I won is like I had to live that paycheck. Now I had the luxury of living at my dad, so, and I was still paying a little bit of rent, but I literally cut out that drug first because I was like, you know what? Let me not have enough. Let me not have enough to pay for my car. Let me not have enough to go do the things that I want to do so that I can just go back down to not having anything.
Hmm.
I just want to be like, fuck, I have to either work or not get the things I want, right? Because you can't, because most people, when they have enough, they think they have something to lose. When the truth is, you ain't got shit to lose. You're making 2 G's a month. Like, the fuck, you're already close to dying anyway, right? At 2K a month is like,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, if you're, I mean, now that that I have money, I'm like, I mean, I don't, what is 2 G's gonna buy? Like, is that at one car? Is that food? Is that rent? What is it gonna be? Because you can't have all of it with 2 G's a month.
Right.
So, but most people have never really experienced the other side. They don't really understand that, like, how little money is, how 2 G's a month really is, right? So, but since they're too stuck into that routine of just getting that quick hit, that dopamine, that paycheck, they never really get time to get out of the matrix, to be like, whoa, this shit is fucked. I need something. I need a better path.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that's what I mean by having enough. Enough is just, like, it's, bro. It's enough is the thing that takes away most people's dreams.
Comfort, man. Comfortability creates inertia. Like it's just
Yeah.
like you stop moving when you're comfortable because you get this false sense of security. It's so primitive,
Mm-hmm.
man. It's so primitive. It's like
Yeah.
after you get a kill thousands of years ago, you're comfortable. You can eat for the week. But it's like
Yeah.
when you don't have that fucking pig or whatever they were catching thousands of years ago, when you don't have that roasting over the fire, it's like we're gonna starve if we don't go find food. So what do? You spend your time finding food. Um,
Yep.
but people get that first kill and they start getting full.
They
They
start.
get
Yeah.
full. And
And
I'm
yeah,
worried
and
about
they.
it too, man. At this level, like getting into 300K a month, it's like, damn, like, okay, I'm cool. This is more money than I ever thought I would make in my life. So it's
Yeah.
like, do I need to keep going? Right? Like, do I
Mm-hmm.
need to? Could I just chill? Could I stop? Because I don't buy shit,
Yeah.
bro. Like, I don't have
Mm-hmm.
any nice things. I got a beat up old Toyota Camry. Like, I'm like the cheapest, most simplistic person. So I don't need the
Yeah.
money, but I also know that I need the growth to create the
Yeah.
money. Like that's the thing I'm
You,
seeking.
one thing I've realized,
Yeah.
because I think you should get the shit.
You think?
I think so. Because because a lot of people, and maybe this is not you, but I've realized, because I've also had this mindset where, and I was having a chat about this because I'm trying to move. I've realized that a lot of entrepreneurs who come from nothing use the excuse of trying being financially smart to try to live like a poor life,
Hmm.
right? So we
Make
have we have these things that are embedded in us from our family, because of course I come from a family too that was like, hey, money is important, money is hard to get. We work hard for our money. We work really hard. We just struggle, fucking work 7 jobs or whatever, how many we work every, overtime that we can get for money. So money is hard to get, but is money really hard to get though?
hmm.
Is my question. So, so my mindset, I have had to force myself to change this. It's because it's like there's no way that I will, you will get to 300K a month and you'll still be driving a Camry, and then you're gonna also use that same thought mind to go try to make $30 million a month. There's no fucking
Point.
way.
That's a good
It
point.
does
Well, you
not,
know what's interesting?
right?
So I hear. So I'm open. I'm glad we're talking about this because this is an interesting
Yeah,
perspective, and
please.
it's something I've thought about a little bit, but I've also been like I've had that feeling of like certainty, like, oh, this is the right path. Like sometimes you debate, should I buy the nice thing or should I not? And for the last couple of years, I've just been like, nah, like you're good. Like it's not even a question. But I'm glad it's becoming a question again because maybe I
Yeah,
need an excuse to go get that
because
IA,
yeah,
you know?
right, bro. But
Um,
no, bro. So let me say this. I'm not necessarily saying go buy shit you don't care about. I'm saying if you had this picture of you driving a nice car, or maybe you're into watches, or maybe you're into nice homes, like why don't you get the things so you can actually just get it passed, get it over with, so you can actually focus on the game. Because there's
hmm,
really two things. I generally, okay, I'm in a position where I could get everything that I've ever wanted, but did I get everything that I've ever wanted to? No. I live in a $1,700 a month apartment. Yes, I have 2 cars. Cool, but it's a 63 AMG. I have a range, but I know guys who make 1/5 of what I make who drive
yeah,
Huracans, who drive Lambos, right? Is it because I don't like a Lambo? Is it because I don't like an R8? No, it's generally because I also was like, fuck, let me actually not try to splurge and not have that lifestyle creep thing. But I was like, am I really in a moment where, like, what am I going to buy? Like, am I going to buy 100 properties so I can live in? No, all I need is one good place, a really great environment to work in, like an
yes.
amazing fucking penthouse, bro, like with a great view, probably better place than Iron Man ever had, right? And I just want to wake up and be inspired. The next thing I want is I want a crazy fucking fast car. I
Mm,
just want a car where I step in, I'm like, who's this guy? I want to look at myself in the mirror and be like, in the window and be like, fuck, man, you're the shit.
yes.
And then I want to get home, maybe have a great relationship. Those 3 things, I have that, then let's get to building a fucking great company. But if I have this, oh, I'm gonna wait $1 million a month until I have the nice car. I'm gonna get to $2 million a month. I'm gonna wait till I make 2 million to get the nice penthouse. Then I'm still playing the game for material needs. I'm not really playing to be creative. I'm playing to get shit. But
Mm.
I've
When you
never
get
seen someone agree.
when you get the
Here,
shit, I see what you're saying. When you get the shit, you have to find a deeper reason to play the game, which is actually the more important thing to discover anyway. Because the
exactly.
material things aren't the reason to play. Like the material things might
Yeah.
get you to go to 7 figures, but they're not going to get you to go to 8. They're not going to
No.
get you to 9.
No.
It's
No.
it's a really interesting thought, dude. I was talking to Joel and a guy named JR Rivas, if you know JR,
I've seen
about
him around. Yeah.
yeah, talking to them about this in Denver, and I was, like they both have nice cars. Joel's got the nice Tesla. JR has like a nice Vet or something. And I was telling them about my
Hmm.
Camry. I was telling them about my $3,000 fucking hand-me-down
Let's
Camry.
go.
If you saw that thing right now, I'll send you a picture because
Please.
I just got hit too. So the mirror is hanging off of the car and it's got white stripes on it that's just like scratched paint. If you see me
Yeah.
get out of that car, you're like, that guy's broke. It's so
Yeah.
it's hilarious. But
But okay, but also check this
yeah,
out. Don't you think that it affects you? On a
that's where I'm
subconscious
going.
level,
That's where I'm going because I think you might be right. Because what JR was saying is like, for me, it's an identity thing. He's like, bro, he's like, I can't try to be a seven-figure CEO and drive this fucking Corolla and look at myself in the
right?
mirror of my Corolla every day. And he's like, I need a
It's
fucking loud vet to make me feel. And I'm like, that is interesting. That is interesting. It didn't
bro,
convert
it's the
me, but
most.
it's interesting.
Yeah. No, but one thing I can say though is that once you get the things you want, because like I don't think that ever. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just an entrepreneur, I like to work. No, bro. Like most of us get into this life because we want to have a good life. We want to have the things we want without having to like negotiate or to try to like like settle for like on the neck the. It's like people want this, but then they'll settle for this, right? It's like no, let's not settle. Let's get the things, right?
True. True. You didn't
So
become
it's
an
like
in order to settle.
yeah, and nobody actually becomes an entrepreneur because they want to work. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's my passion. Nah, bro, it's not your passion. And most
Mm,
people whose passion, whose business is their passion, they're broke. So it's like you need to get in to give people what they want so you can actually get the shit you want and then play the game. Just then become good with the game and just become just a player, right? Just
right.
become like an artist who's just, you know, doing what they want to do, right?
Yeah. And I think that could be good or bad depending on the person. One thing I'll say before I even dive into that is I definitely want a nice
Yeah.
house. I definitely want a nice work
Uh,
environment where I wake up and every day I'm like I'm inspired, I'm focused, and I'm
yeah.
feeling lively. Cars I think just maybe aren't the thing that I've been drawn towards, neither clothes, but a house
Yeah.
100% because that environment does program your
I know.
subconscious for sure. And then if we're going to accept that, then the car is definitely programming you in some way too. But since I don't
Hmm.
drive much, I'm giving myself an out for that. But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe next time you guys see me, I'll be whipping something nice. I don't
Please.
know. Um,
Yeah.
but the interesting thing is I feel like so many people use those physical attainments as like the scapegoat to their problems. And I heard Iman talk
Hmm.
about this once. He's like, so many people are actually like deeply depressed or lost, but they're on this journey of making money. And so they're
Hmm.
letting themselves have a little bit of hope, but really it's an illusion because their hope is, well, when I get the watch, I'm going to be happy. When I get the car, I'm going
Hmm.
to feel good about myself. When I get the house, how could I be sad? And then they get those things and they realize, shit, I'm still fucked up. And they realize it was never the solution in the first place. And so then they're either
Hmm.
forced to confront the demons and lose or confront the demons and win. And when they win, they fall in love with the
Yeah.
game, like you're talking about. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing. Physical attainments. They're an interesting thing for
Yeah.
sure. What's the coolest thing you
I th-
think that you've gotten so far that's like changed the way you view purchases? Is it the range? Is it the watches? Like what do you think? Is it trips? What do you think is the coolest thing?
this watch is a gift, by the way. It's for my dad. So
Oh,
this is the
nice.
only watch I've ever bought, right? But
Oh, really?
I'm rocking it because his birthday is not yet. So
That's
so
fire.
I'm gonna enjoy his gift.
That's
But no, I'm
fire.
not crazy into watches.
Okay.
So for me, I guess of course getting my AMG was a good moment, right? But then the thing is, it's like I could have gotten something better, right? But I still love the car. I think, oh my God, it's because it's an amazing experience to
Hmm.
just drive that thing if you're someone who is into cars, right? But I guess that the moments where I'm like, damn, this the work we're doing is great is when I'll take a trip and we'll go, let's say to Spain, we'll go to Cape Town, um, we'll go to Italy with my team and we'll just be living in like crazy places, right? $6 million villas,
Yeah.
spending thousands and thousands of dollars a
Yeah.
night. Like, and I just we can just live that moment and not really be in a moment of like, because most people when they're on vacation, they're always thinking like, oh, like money, oh, money this, money that, oh, we can't have that, we can't. No, it's like for me, it's like, can I go and experience something great and just be fully in the present? For
Hmm.
me, those are the moments that I'm like, fuck, let's go bigger. Like how many people can we get to experience this, right? Even my clients, when I think about them and they're just trying to play the game small, I'm like, oh my God, you don't know what you're missing out on, man. Like life can be so beautiful, right? So like for me, I'd say that because that's where I've spent most of my money. I'll spend crazy amounts of money on trips, right?
Wait, can we get
But
a
I would
number?
say I wouldn't say.
What's the most you've spent on a trip if you're open to talking about it?
I
What's
mean, last client retreat, I think we probably spent like at least 100.
sheesh. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's such an experience, right? Like the foods, the villa, the
yeah,
people,
man.
everything. That's
The
I
people,
mm, I agree a
and I
hundred
had my
percent.
team, and I had my team coming from all over the place: Philippines,
Yeah, man.
Lebanon,
That's fire.
Italy. So it's like you get someone coming from like literally nothing to go into a completely different universe, and it's like just them experiencing this. Because for me, it's like okay, I'm paying for it, so it's kind of like I'm a little jaded to it a little bit because I'm paying for it. So I'm kind of like thinking about the price. I'm like, fuck, this shit is expensive.
Yeah.
But for them, it's like for me, the best thing is not really because for me, I'm really someone who just likes to take care of the people. I love other people to experience success
Right.
over me because for me, it's like I'm just a doer. I just like let's get back to work, right? Because I'm past that. I enjoy work more than I enjoy just relaxing every day. So, but when I get other people to experience it, other people to drive the car, other people to live in the places, like that's something that you man, you can see it in their face and be like, fuck, this is crazy.
That's it's a deeper level of like pleasure and happiness when you see somebody else feel the way that you've been trying to feel. Like
Yeah.
we just did our team
Oh,
retreat in we just did our team retreat in Costa Rica. We had our whole team out there and people, yeah, from like South America, Ecuador. We couldn't get the people from the Philippines there because of like visa stuff, which
yeah.
sucked. But we
I
got
know.
basically everybody there and we rented out, yeah, it was like three villas on this one compound. We were going,
Nice.
it was a Surge style retreat. You would have been
Let's
happy.
go.
You would have been happy. It was actually
Yeah.
owned by the people who started Volkswagen. So like the Volkswagen family, it was their crib. So it was this
Jeez.
crazy place and like seeing everybody there, the smiles on their face when they walk in and they look at it and they're just like, what is this place? And there's a
Wow.
chef cooking food and it's just like it's a
Mhm.
different life. And it gives you so much more perspective on how great this really is. Cause like this is stuff they couldn't even dream about. And now they're living it right in front of you. And you're like, man, like it's bigger than just me. It's bigger than just me. Like
Yeah.
I thought I wanted this, but I'm actually
Hmm.
privileged as fuck. They really wanted this. They actually like this is even higher for them. So it does take you to a different level. So
Yeah.
it's interesting you say that. I think trips, houses, that's probably what I'll spend my money on. And who knows,
Yeah.
maybe a car too. But it's definitely an interesting.
Yeah.
You've definitely gathered an interesting perspective on money. I feel like through
Yeah.
spending it and not holding on to it. So maybe I need to spend a little bit more. Maybe I need to go buy some shit. See what happens. We'll see.
Yeah. Just, if you want something, get it, man. Like,
Yeah.
I think also like, I'm trying to, lately I've just been pushing myself to stop being attached so much to money.
Yeah.
I just want to do what I want to do and just work as much as I want to do, play as hard as I want to play. But because man, this concept of money keeps so many people like locked up, like constrained on
Yeah.
to like what they can achieve, right? I think more people will achieve less from making a lot of money versus people will never achieve anything because they lack the knowledge, right? I think there's more people who sell their dreams out than make that first 50K, 100K a month. Then most people get to 50K, 100K a month and actually get past that, right? And I think it's because they start making money and then the money they sell their potential for their current level of
Mm,
success level.
mm.
Yeah,
Interesting. It goes back to that comfortability, right? Like they just get
goes
comfortable.
back to it.
They get
I
comfortable.
know.
That's why if you're
You just
uncomfortable
get
right now, you're listening to this, like, bro, good, good. It's the best time. It's the
yeah,
best time. Um,
yeah,
man, there's a thought that came to mind, but I forgot about it.
yeah. So what's your next play? So right now you guys are pushing the real estate stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so you guys, what exactly is your service?
So, Estate AI in a nutshell is basically a marketing consulting company for realtors. It started
Hmm.
16 months ago. Um, we
Nice.
went from 0 to 300K a month in a year. So it was a really fast agency. And then
Wow.
what happened is we applied for acquisition.com. We were talking about Hermosi earlier. We applied to acquisition.com. We got to chat with them and meet their team. And without going into all the details, basically, they wanted us to build a real estate brokerage, which I actually haven't really talked about yet. I want to make some videos on that. But they were like, dude, you guys need to pivot
Nice.
from a lead gen agency to a real estate brokerage like EXP, Keller Williams. I don't know all that they have in Canada, but I'm assuming those are there too.
Yep.
Like, you guys need to build that. And so my partner and I were like, shit, that's $1 billion company. And like
Yeah.
Hermosi's the one telling us the vision. So it's like, this is legit. But we thought about it. We were super excited for a little bit. And then ultimately we had to ask ourselves, like, do we want to spend the next 5 to 10 years building a real estate brokerage? Like, is it going to make us fulfilled? And are we going to enjoy the next 5 to 10 years? And I think about death a lot, bro. Like, it's weird for a 21-year-old to
Yeah.
think about death as much as I do. And I maybe shouldn't even say this, but for some reason, I just have a feeling I'm not going to be here for that long. Like, I don't
Really.
know why. I didn't think I was going to
Mm.
make it past the age of 18. So like, I'm already kind of like, I'm just happy to be alive. I'm happy to be waking up
Why
every
is
day.
that? Why is that? Is it because of your environment?
No, I used to, well, in some ways, yes. I used to be very depressed. I was like really like chronically depressed. And
Mm.
I didn't think I was gonna keep going after 18. Like that's where
Wow.
my life was 4 years ago. Um, and so for some reason, maybe I'm holding on to that. I'm just like, sometimes I do some crazy shit and I'll get a little risky. So I don't think I'm gonna,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I'm like, trying to accept the fact that, hey, I might not see it past 30. Like, it is what it is. So when I think about that, and
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of death, and I'm very aware of
Hmm.
how impermanent and finite this life is, I'm just like, man, it's not, I don't care if we build $1 billion company if I'm miserable. And I would have been miserable, I
Hmm.
think. So ultimately after that, we realized we were not the
Yeah.
people to maximize a State AI's potential, because the team's
Yeah.
incredible, the potential's incredible. Richard Barton, the CEO of Expedia, the CEO of Zillow, one of the only people to ever found multiple billion-dollar companies, he said something in an interview that always stuck with me. He's like, there's only two things that matter for a startup's potential. Only two things: the size of the market and the quality of the team. How big is the field they're playing in, and how good are the players on the field? And when I think about a State AI, we're in the same market as Zillow, and we have a badass team. But my partner and I, we're not the people who really want to push this thing to 9 figures. So because of that, we're
Hmm.
looking at getting acquired and partnering with some bigger companies. And we've been going through that process of actually exiting, which has
Nice.
been a really, really interesting thing. We haven't talked to our team yet. We're actually might be receiving our first offer today, knock on wood. Um, so
Wow.
yeah, man, going through the exit process has been really interesting, and like actually building something that people want to pay millions of dollars for. It's like, that's really interesting. That's really, really interesting. It's
Yeah.
different when you're doing it yourself, but when somebody else is like, "Hey, I want that too," it's
Hmm.
interesting. So that's been a State AI, but we do Facebook ads for real estate agents, and then really what we do differently that I think was attractive to the acquisition.com team, and just like the video I did with Thomas, which is probably where I guess anybody who knows me, which most people don't because I'm very, very small, but anybody who
Hmm.
does probably is from that video. The thing we do differently is just we actually do consulting and community on top of the leads. So we've gotten pretty good at coaching, training, and mentorship for realtors on top of giving them leads. And that was the
Mm.
game-changing thing for us, is we added in a community where we do basically 8 calls a week, and we train our agents on
Nice.
sales, follow-up, mindset, building a team, all this stuff. And we basically try to replicate Gym Launch for the real estate niche. And yeah,
Nice.
that's basically a State AI in a nutshell, man. That's been the journey for the last 16, 17 months. It's been interesting.
That's good. I like what you said about, questioning if $1 billion should be the goal.
Hmm.
I've been listening to this same podcast. Like every time I fly, I play it again. It's on Knowledge Project, and it's about mimetic desires, right?
Hmm.
Most people don't know that every single thing that you want to achieve is actually just copied from someone else's desires, right?
Hmm.
So I've been having also this chat where it's like, okay, what is the goal of client acquisition that do I want to get to 100 million? Do I want to get to a half a billion? Do I want to get chase a billion? But for
Hmm.
me, it's I always catch myself setting these big goals. Do I still want to? Yeah, I'm probably going to aim for 9 figures regardless, but I want to do it because I choose to. But past that, I don't know if it's worth it. Like is it? Do I really want to be the guy who created a $1 billion company? Man, I could give less. I couldn't give less fucks, bro. Like I just don't care. I just don't care enough. I would love to give. I would love to get to a point where I just share stuff for free. Like I would build companies for free. I would do anything for free because I'd love to see more people win and not have a certain fee to winning, right?
Hmm.
So like anyway, coming back to the mimetic thing is like we copy people, not just so let's say when we look up to people, right? So let's say someone like Hormozy, or maybe you're an artist and you look up to an artist, I don't know, like say Michael Jackson or Kanye West. Not only will you copy what they do, but you'll also copy their desires. So if Kanye West likes a certain, it's like people who the reason why Yeezy is such an important brand, it's not the fact that Kanye West has a great style. It's just the fact that people who love Kanye West will also inevitably love what he likes to wear. So they'll
Yeah.
actually have the same desires based on who they like, right?
Hmm.
So we're mimetic creatures. If you like someone and you want to be like them, you will also inevitably like and set up the same goals in life that they want to live, right?
Hmm.
So, but if you don't know that, then you'll think that, oh, I need to build $1 million business. No, you don't. Someone else that you like wants to build $1 million business or has built $1 million business, therefore you want to
Fascinating.
build it. But is it really because you really want, like, who was born on this planet and was like, oh, I want to start going to the gym, or hey, I want to be a billionaire, or hey, I want
Yeah.
to be a teacher? No, you find a character that represents a certain thing that a character that you'd love to become, and everything about that character becomes like a stack of goals that you want to set, but it's all copied from another fucking person who's not even that important. So that's why for me, when I look, I swear to God, I know I may be an entrepreneur, I may be a founder, business person, but when it comes to business, I don't really look at a lot of people and be like, oh, this guy is amazing. I don't put them on a pedestal because I'm like, because they just copied someone else's goals. So it's like, why would I copy someone who copied the other person who probably copied another person's goal? Let me lead the life how I want to lead it. Let me
Hmm.
solve this money issue. But then once I've solved it and I'm playing the game because I want to play it, I generally just want to let me become a painter. Let me just start playing the game. Let me go to schools. Let me build a school. Let me go teach a class a week. Let me be creative with my life. I just want to do something. I just want to just be express myself. And I'm sure you follow me, right? So, on
Dude.
social
Yeah.
media, I don't necessarily show up as like, hey, this is the ROI, this is the sales goal strategy. Like, I don't give a fuck about that because that's in a book. You can get it. That's building $1 billion companies. There has been so many books written probably around building $1 billion company, but it's like, so it's like, is building $1 billion company that impressive? To me, maybe not. Maybe building an amazing family, having an amazing wife, having amazing kids, um, teaching your kids about psychology, teaching kids about how the dopamine system works, teaching kids about mimetic desires, teaching kids about how to build a home, teaching kids about architecture, teaching kids about astronomy, like these things where it's like a bigger base foundation of knowledge, where it's not just about money. Like it's come on, man. Like come on, man. It
Fascinating.
gets old, bro.
Bro, that is so interesting. Mimetic, like think about, I'm just thinking about all the things I've chased, and it's
Right?
so clear to me. It's like it's so clear to me how I've chased them because of other people. Like how many people wanted to travel and build agencies because of Iman? Me. Fuck.
Right?
Yeah. How many people are now trying to build SaaS companies because Iman's pivoting into
Because
SaaS? It's like,
It's
bro, you don't even want to
crazy,
build a SaaS company. You have no idea how fucking hard that is to build a software company. But because Iman wants to do it, you want to do it. It's like, man,
right?
that is so
Or
interesting.
watches, or watches. Like for me, like even this watch that I bought, I swear to God, I don't give a single fuck about watches, but I have to kind of get it. I have to fall in line because it's like we're creatures that copy other creatures, or not only that, but it's like you do things inevitably because of what other people around you are doing, right?
Right.
Even if you don't want to do it, you'll still do it because you'll like go back to the herd, like you'll do what
Exactly.
most of your group
It's
is doing, right?
it's like most things. I think it's a primitive feeling. Like we are designed in our DNA to want to fit into the crowd, because if we don't
Exactly.
fit into the tribe, if we don't fit into the tribe thousands of years ago, we got kicked out of the tribe. And if we got kicked out of the tribe, we had to hunt
Yeah,
by
die.
ourselves, and we had to
Yeah.
we had to defend ourselves on our own, and it was so much harder to survive without a tribe. So it's like
Hmm.
that primitive desire for survival, I think, shows in our mimetic desires. Um,
Yeah.
and it's
And you know what's
very,
funny?
very
You just said
fascinating. Yeah.
about the fact. I think I would even go to a point. You just said that people, it's so harder to hunt when you're alone. But what if all the people who got kicked out died?
Mm,
What's left of society is people who think that staying in a community is a good thing about
mm.
survival. Therefore,
Yeah,
evolutionary, it's like we've evolved to having this bias into like, hey, community, everything, right?
yeah.
Everybody who had the different thought never made it out alive. So therefore, we're just a bunch of people
Who are
who
programmed
who
by
were
other
engine
people.
programmed
Yeah.
to be optimized for survival, right? So it's like
Mm.
everything that made us survive 2,000, 3,000 years ago is still in us, leading our lives, and we think that we're so good, we're so smart. It's like, come on, bro.
Dude, that's I've
Like,
never I've
are
never
you
thought about the
serious?
fact that all the people who went out on their own died. It's like, because, well, now who's raising the world?
Right?
All the people who wanted to fit in to survive. So it's like, no wonder
Yeah.
there's such a lack of originality. No wonder that we're all trying to keep up with
Hmm.
the status quo. No wonder everybody's trying to fit in.
Exactly.
And that's why these people
Yeah.
who are trying to show a different way and a different path, they're so rare because they're out here hunting on their fucking own, bro. They're hunting on their own. That's exactly what they're doing, just in a digital world.
Yeah.
And yeah, people like that need to be protected. They need to be promoted. It's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. Interesting shit, bro. Interesting shit.
Yeah.
Mimetic
Yeah.
desires. What was
So,
the name of that podcast?
knowledge project.
Knowledge Project.
Knowledge project, mimetic desires. Yeah, I think this talk will be really cool. I think a lot of people will value it. Isaiah, is it a good talk? I mean, you can't hear it. Yeah, you can hear my gems, but you can't hear the gems by from Matt. But
Nah, this
no,
is fire.
it's gonna be good.
This is
Knowledge
fire.
project, mimetic desires, right? So for me, my goal is to get people to create their own life, like design it, like stop. Okay, cool. If you went through Sam Oven stuff, okay, cool. Maybe you might have a little bit of Sam. If you went through Hormozy stuff, maybe you might have a little bit of Hormozy stuff in you. But it's like take it all. Either build something else or choose to leave it. I think one of the greatest thing for me about when I see someone who is, when I see humans who are great, for me, it's not really about like have they been successful at something. For me, the greatest people are people who have the potential to do great things, but they choose to let go of the status
Mm,
that would come from the great things, right? So like you'll see, for me,
mm.
it's like I'll see people, and that's why like I'm really into like philosophy because I like people who just know everything, but they just choose to play the game that isn't as well rewarded as, let's say, like a business game, right?
Right.
So for me, one of the things that I really want to do is like I'd love to have time. I'd love to build a company to a point where maybe I'm potentially not even the CEO anymore, but I just go read, spend time learning, right? Just traveling, reading stuff, and then just writing. I love learning and then sharing knowledge, right? Like that for me, it's like whenever I'm the most inspired is when I go into these talks and I listen to people, maybe billionaires. I love to listen. I love me some billionaires. Do I want to be a billionaire? No, but I love the I love this lens that they have of the world. I love their worldview because it shows you so much density of like of knowledge, and it's just like for me that's it's inspiring. I don't really care about like okay how much profit, because it's like man at some point you, even if you're a billionaire or someone with 100 million, it's like you guys can live the same shit. It's like there's not a $1 billion product out there that
Right.
a billionaire can get that you can't get, right? So it's like
Right.
it's more of so of the doing things because you want to change the world than versus playing the game for yourself.
Yeah, man, it sounds like you have a lot of admiration for people who have potential but choose purpose over profit. Like the
Exactly.
people who could do the shit, but like they sacrifice their view, or how they're viewed rather
Hmm.
by the world. They sacrifice that. They sacrifice their image in order to build up other people's image. Um, very, very interesting. So what is your plan long term? Long term, you'd want to give back.
Uh,
Actually, a question before that, on mimetic
mhm.
desires. How do you find your real desire? How do you find, because I'm a big believer, like you never make your own decision. Your decision is always
Yeah.
defined by somebody else's. It's the idea of fatalism. I know you mentioned you're into philosophy. I love
Hmm.
philosophy. Yeah, I love reading about it, learning about it. But this idea of
Yeah.
fatalism is basically everything, or determinism, two different kind of ideas.
Hmm.
Determinism is like everything's already determined for you, because the second you're
Okay.
born, you're programmed. So even when you think you're being authentic, your authenticity is programmed in a certain way
Hmm.
by all of the other beliefs that have been cast onto you because of the environments you've been in. You never create or make your own decision, right? Like
Yeah.
it's never you. So with that idea, I'm curious if you agree. How do you come up with your own desires? How do you come up with your own uh
Yeah.
goals in life if we're all programmed?
So see the thing is understanding mimetic desires. I don't think you can. I don't think you get to like just like
Beat it.
I don't think you beat it, but you work with it, right? Meaning if I'm an entrepreneur, I'm for sure going to be inclined to want to like. If I look up to a lot of entrepreneurs, I consume a lot of business content. I'm automatically going to want to fucking build the biggest business because that's my identity is related to how big I take it, right? Now, for me, it's like knowing that that we're mimetic creatures. My goal is to orchestrate what I consume in a manner where I design the character and the purpose that I want. So you consciously design who you're gonna mimic.
Right. Hmm.
So as an example, I may just, choose someone who's really great at business, right? I may find not necessarily in the online marketing space, but maybe I might find people who've built really big tech companies, people who are great investors. And I'll choose like, hey, this guy, this guy, this guy. I like the fact that he's really fucking smart. I like the way he talks. I like the fact that he can still be cool and not really be all fucking stuck up and shit,
Corporate. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
All corporate and weird,
You
right?
definitely
But
embody
then
that
I'll
too.
right,
You
and
definitely
then
embody
I'll
that.
and then I'll choose maybe someone who has a great family, and then I'll choose to choose that, and I'll put them in the equation, and then I'll probably find someone who's a great artist, and then I'll find put them in the equation too, right? So I'll kind of like take pieces in here, and then I'll create the perfect the perfect desires that I need to mimic, right?
Hmm.
Maybe someone who also likes cars because great taste in cars, great taste in homes, and I'll just put this and I'll put that and I'll put it together, and then maybe I may not be the best entrepreneur, maybe I'll not be an artist, maybe I'll not be the best fucking home designer, but I'll have a little bit of everything, and then that's what my life will be, right? So
Hmm.
it's like consciously choose who you copy.
I love that. So you're just being very aware of the person that you're following. And I in the first video I posted, kind of talked about the idea of calculated consumption and
Mm,
conscious consumption, and how the people that you consume information from online determine the way you think, and your thoughts determine your life. Like I'm a big believer, your thoughts determine your destiny. and the people that you're looking up to. I don't even think it's your friends necessarily. Like, yes, that has an impact on you, but it's the people you put on a pedestal that you're watching online that really you have so much attachment to their ideas because you believe they are higher than your friends. Those are the people who are
Hmm.
determining how you think, which determines how you come, who you become, how you live, the life that you live.
Yeah.
So it's like so many people, if you watch Iman, like you're gonna want these certain things. If you look up to
Yeah.
Hermosi and you're always watching Hermosi, eventually you're gonna be like, all right, dude, I just want to get jacked, rich, and eat really good food and never skip dessert. Like that's my life.
Yeah.
So it's it's interesting. You got to be really careful of the mentors you choose. That's I think my
100%.
biggest takeaway from that. Be very
Super important.
selective with who you're learning from because they'll program you, man. Like everything and everyone will. So be
Yeah.
careful with it.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. So I have 4 minutes before my next call.
Word.
So what's your goal? Knowing because one of the things is once because now you're in a position where you kind of have the framework to winning at least in business. Like what has that done for you? Has it been something that has inspired you, or has it been something that has just made you more aware of who you are as a person, or have
Hmm.
it have it just brought up more both?
Yeah,
When I
were you
when
gonna
I
say has it brought up more trauma?
Yeah, it has just been like fuck, like damn, life has a lot of because I feel like when you're successful, you're put in a position where you get to see everybody's true character or true face or some in a way,
Yeah.
right? So you get to see a lot of what makes life and society a bit weird, but
Mm.
you also get to see the beautiful side of things in a manner, right? So like for you, what has it changed within you in your perspective?
It's made me realize the difference between happiness and purpose. Like people always ask, will money make you happy? Will money make you happy? And there's this fallacy from Hollywood or like these rich people that, oh no, money won't make you happy. Money won't make you happy. Bullshit. Bullshit. Money will make you happy because happiness, by definition, is a feeling or expression of joy or contentment. Like that's the definition of happy. A feeling or expression
Hmm.
of joy or contentment. Money, 100% can make you feel or express joy, like we talked about with cars and food and all of this. But
Hmm.
purpose by definition, is the reason for which something exists or is created. So it's made me realize that money and success is not the reason that I was created, but it can make me happy and give me the freedom to focus on the reason I was created. Because you can't focus
Nice.
on why you're created if you have no money and you're always focused on how do I put food on the table. You can't discover your
Hmm.
purpose. You can't maximize your purpose if you aren't free. So you have to become free. So
Yeah.
now the question for me is, well, what is my purpose? What is my reason for existence? What am I here to do? And I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to
Yeah.
talk to God. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to improve my relationship with whatever the higher power is. I'll be honest, I don't know, but I'm learning and
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide like what am I here to do and go after that. And trying in a way, I've been doing this unconsciously, but now that you've explained it to me, I've honestly been trying to eliminate mimetic desires and make sure that the next thing I go after is actually what my core mimetic desire is, not my superficial mimetic desire is.
Yeah.
So I'm on that path right now, man, and I don't know what it is,
I love
but
it.
it's going to be a journey and we're going to find it.
Yeah. I think the goal is wonder, I love to wonder, try shit,
Yeah.
to be personal, I think I'm going on a streak of just failing because I just want to try shit.
Mm,
I just want to try. I just want to wonder. I want to launch a product that is not really fucking business wise, like sound. Like I just want to do things just, cool. What if, because
yeah.
most people don't understand this, but like success comes from finding things that most people have not found out, right? But if you're optimizing for zero risk, zero failure, then you're actually optimizing to not be ahead of most people. Because
Mm,
the only way you figure out and learn is by failing more than most people,
right.
right?
That's data.
So if you're not chasing, some new learning, some data, then you're at some point you're gonna run out of insights, and then you're gonna just be another one of those companies that just goes out of business, right? All right, cool, man. I need to dip.
All
I
right, brother.
think, man, come to Vegas, man. Let's do an in-person pod.
Bro, let's run it.
Um,
Let's run it.
come to Vegas. Let's
What?
just let's celebrate life. Let's put you
Let's
in
do
a
it.
let's put you in
Put me
a
in a whip.
McLaren 720S,
Put me
and
in
then
a whip.
let's just go race, and then I'm sure you'll love life after that. You'll be like, fuck, maybe 100 years would actually be
Bro,
more like
I
it
will
until.
say I love gambling. So you put me in Vegas and it's
Oh,
either gonna go really well or really bad because my brother's a professional poker player. But anyway, brother,
nice.
dude, it was great meeting you. And
Yeah,
yeah, hopefully we can link up in Vegas. I'll hit you up, see what the details are, and yeah, maybe we'll make
100%.
it happen, man. Appreciate you. This was fire.
Appreciate you, man.